Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Source Material. And tonight we are going to be talking about one of the spooky, creepy. Hey, we're getting close to Halloween. We've got to get some spooky stuff here on the schedule. And the man who does the scheduling around here, Mark Radulich, is going to let us know what we're going to be talking about tonight and why it was on the schedule. So, Mark Radulich, welcome to the show, by the way. Ronnie Adams, say hi.
Hi.
All right, that's Ronnie. Now, Mark.
Look, it's simply put, it is Halloween season. It's the month of October, and in the month of October, we like to veer from the usual path and look at scary things, spooky things. We don't have anything in particular going on this week as far as new movies or anything like that. So we decided to go look in the world, look out in the world of comic books and see what's out there that fits into our Halloween theme. And as it happens, there's the Legends of the Dark Knight trade paperback, Batman Haunted Knight, which collects 3 of the Legends of the Dark Knight annuals, I believe.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at the wiki right here. We got Batman Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween Special number 1, Batman Madness Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween Special, and that has 1994 on the date. And then Batman Ghosts, the Legends of the Dark Knight Halloween Special from 1995. So 1993 is special number 1, 1994 is Madness, 95 is Ghosts. So yes, they put all these 3 together, and it's a trade paperback published in 1996. Now, Jeph Loeb, Tim Sale, they came together for a couple other books that we've talked about actually on this show. Batman The Long Halloween, that was the first book that we actually covered on here, and that was a rather in-depth look at what happened in that book. If I remember right, that was two podcasts. It had to have been 4 hours altogether. So that was not what's going to happen tonight. I'll tell you that right now. But so that was Batman The Long Halloween. That came out in 1996. It was originally published by DC Comics in 1996 and 1997. And then there was another one, Batman Dark Victory. Yes. Dark V for Vendetta. Yes, it was. It was Dark Victory. Watchmen? Not Dark Watchmen. Dark Victory.
No, Dark Victory. I know this one.
So, yeah, Dark Victory, another Jeph Loeb, Tim Sale. Came out in 99, 2000. So then this right here, what we're talking about, actually precedes those books. So I thought it was actually the third in the trilogy. That's not the case. It's actually the first. So regardless, we've got these 3 stories. They center around Batman. Each one of them is a tale about tying in Halloween and a iconic Batman villain. So what we've decided to do tonight is we're going to do one story apiece. Ronnie Adams is going to take the first story, which I think involves the Scarecrow. I'm taking the second one, which involves the Mad Hatter, and Mark Radulich is taking Ghosts, which has 3 villains in there, which I believe is Poison Ivy, Joker, and who was the other one? I'm forgetting. Penguin. The Penguin, that's right. So right now, what we'll do here, real quick, is we'll cut for synopsis, and we'll be right back. Fears. The Scarecrow is on the loose, causing power outages across Gotham in order for his minions to easily rob some local businesses. Although Batman has captured him and turned him over to Commissioner Gordon and the authorities once already, Scarecrow escapes again, this time seeking to terrorize Batman by capturing the Commissioner. And what of Bruce Wayne's new love interest, Gillian Maxwell? Bruce's faithful servant Alfred decides to dig a little further and finds that she is not who she claims to be. But will Bruce Wayne even care? Let's talk about your story first. Obviously, we're going chronological order because that's the way I planned it. So this is the 1993 Halloween special. Like I said, it involved the Scarecrow. What did you bring to the table here? What did you want to talk about, or what did you enjoy most about the book? Lay it on us.
Everybody always sees Batman as unflappable. They always see him as like the guy that can take down the entire Justice League, always has a plan. This kind of really showed the human side of Batman, and he actually has fears and hopes and dreams and blah, blah, blah. But mostly just that he is afraid of certain things.
Mm-hmm.
That's the part of the story I really enjoy. Also, I'm not that familiar with this era Jonathan Crane Scarecrow, so it was kind of cool to see this Scarecrow as well. It was just a different Scarecrow than what I'm used to.
From the front page, the first page, you get this full page of nothing but Scarecrow's face, which looks, I don't know, it just looks different than what I'm used to as well. Yeah. So this is Tim Sale doing the art.
He's more like the Joker.
Yeah.
And, he's going around reciting
so nursery rhymes,
things like that. So it was different. I always thought Scarecrow was more intellectual.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, he is a doctor, right?
Well, yeah, he's a psychologist, isn't he?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, so that was weird in that. But I think if I'm remembering correctly, in the second story, nursery rhymes had something to do with that as well. A little bit. Mad
Hatter kept reciting stuff.
Yeah, but then it became just stuff out of the book, out of Alice in Wonderland. But it was a different take than what I'm used to on with Scarecrow. And then there was, I can't forgive me for not remembering her name, but the female antagonist in the book,
Jillian Maxwell.
Jillian.
Yeah, I actually thought she was like another character or something, like somebody big that I just couldn't remember.
I did too.
Really, her name doesn't matter because I think one of the things that she really points out, or one of the things that she's really there to kind of give you a reference to, is the fact of how Alfred kind of watches out.
Yeah, Alfred is definitely the father figure since his father passed away. Showed that side of Alfred, showed that Bruce Wayne does have a vulnerable side. The greatest detective in the world can be tricked.
Yeah, he was really considering not going out as Batman for her. It was almost like
he's going to travel the world for her.
Yeah, he told Alfred's pack the steamer trunk. He's like, oh my goodness, Master Bruce, what is going on here,
I feel like that's pretty consistent, though, with Bruce Wayne, that if there's one thing that can trip him up and knock him off his game, it's vagina. I'm not even kidding. Weakness, bullets to the face and pussy. That's it. Those are his weaknesses.
Yeah, so this girl, she shows up. She's bad news. Alfred kind of watches out for him, finds out that this girl's kind of grifted her way into other rich men's hearts, and Alfred kind of tells her to shove off, pretty much. Explains to Bruce, look, she's not good for you. Here's the disc that has all the Interpol information. Bruce sitting there thinking, should I even look at it? You're right. That's a big vulnerability right there. As Bruce Wayne, or Batman, the world's greatest detective, he is allowing this woman a lot of leeway.
Yeah.
I like the idea that that there's always this side of Bruce Wayne or a Batman that says, well, why can't I be Batman and be happy? Mm-hmm. It's an interesting element because not every writer really deals with that, but the occasional one will kind of take the Batman character and it kind of goes to Batman 50 under Tom King, right? With him and Catwoman, this idea of, I want to honor my father and mother's legacy and their memory by going out and fighting crime and making the city safer, but don't I deserve to be happy too? There's this idea that certain writers definitely play with in their hands, like a Rubik's Cube, that, he can't have both, or can he? One never, it's a fictional character and you can do whatever you want with him, but it feels like the take on him is, nope, you can't. Mm. It's one or the other. Either be Batman or be happy. Pick one.
I'm just looking at the costume party that he was holding at Wayne Manor here. There are a lot of, I love how an artist has free reign to go through and kind of use just about anybody he wants at a costume party, because in this DC book, I see Hawkeye down here in the lower right-hand corner.
I did not catch that.
Yeah, dude, there's Hawkeye. Cerebus, the gray aardvark. I think he's an aardvark. I think he's in this. Milk and Cheese, Madman.
Yeah, I saw Milk and Cheese.
Milk and Cheese is in there. Madman is Hobbs the tiger from Calvin and Hobbes. Yeah. He's in the left-hand corner. Oh, I saw Waldo. Waldo's actually in here.
Damn.
So, anyway, there's Snow White.
So much. Bone? Did you say Bone?
Yeah, Bone. Yeah, he's up there with the star shirt on. I see him. So now, Mark, some of these are independent comic book characters. I don't know if you ever heard of Milk and Cheese or Bone. What else? Anything else on that first story that you really enjoyed?
No, that's basically it. To be honest with you, but it was a good story. It was not as exciting as I wanted it to be, really, but it was still pretty cool.
One of the first things I noticed, because that's our first story that we get setting the book off. And I had forgotten the way Jeph Loeb had written. I didn't know if it was going to be, I was worried it was going to be dense. I remember going through the long Halloween going, oh my gosh, here we go again. And yeah, the podcast was even longer, It was a very long book. But there is a lot to be said in the fact that Jeph lets the art speak for itself. He lets Tim Sale take over. There are plenty of pages that go by, that the action is speaking for itself. I think there's I remember one page where it's just completely Batman falling and he's trying to stop himself from falling or something like that. It's great to have that being told just through the pictures. That's what the whole medium's about. Letting the pictures tell the story.
Naked Bruce, too. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but...
Naked what?
Bruce.
Oh. We'll go ahead and move on, unless you got something there to say, Mark Radulich.
With reference to Naked Bruce? No, just... all right.
Yeah, jeez. Madness. When Commissioner Gordon's adopted daughter Babs intends to spend Halloween night out with her friends, Commissioner Gordon forbids it, as he knows the danger that awaits in Gotham on Halloween. Defying her adopted father's orders, Babs runs into the Mad Hatter, who abducts her, placing her at a tea party with other kidnapped and drugged children. This sets Batman in motion to find Babs and put an end to the Mad Hatter's horrific Halloween caper, and Bruce Wayne almost loses his life in the process. Our second story here, titled Madness. This one right here, like I said, centers around the Mad Hatter. One of the people that I wanted to look up here, just to make sure, it starts out with Babs. They specifically referenced her as Babs, which is, she's writing in her diary, and the second panel she writes Dad, crosses that out, and then Uncle Jim crosses that out. And so what you find out is that Babs has been adopted. Now, either of you know if she is the Barbara Gordon that we're thinking of, or is she somebody completely different? I mean, I understand Babs is pretty much short for Barbara, but I'm ready to look it up here. Just, do you guys know off the top of your head?
When I was reading this, I think it was retconned to her being adopted by Jim and Barbara.
Really?
Yeah.
I was under the impression that it was Batgirl, but didn't. Considering she doesn't turn into Batgirl, and that's not the point of her being in the story, I didn't think it mattered that much. So I was like, whatever. She was Babs, and I moved on.
It didn't take me out. It just seemed like I thought Barbara was his daughter, and
she started out as.
I've never heard her referenced as Babs. She clearly seemed like a young child. This is mid-90s, so maybe they did something, just like you said, where they went in there and said, okay, well, we're going to turn her into a kid. We're going to turn her into being adopted, because that's mentioned in here about how they adopted her. She's coming off the train. She spent a whole day in the city. She was all excited about that, and she's finally coming home. Granted, a lot of this plays with the Mad Hatter being this crazy lunatic who has apparently, abducted all these kids and is keeping them drugged around a table.
How fucking creepy is that?
This was so creepy.
And there's a point where, Mad Hatter almost kills Batman, which kind of took me by surprise.
Got him in the fucking head.
Yeah. Now, do you guys know much about Dr. Tompkins, the lady that saved, I guess you would say, Batman?
Just the portrayal of her by the chick on Gotham, and it's a completely different take on the character. Basically, she started out as an Arkham Asylum psychiatrist, and then she ended up working for Gotham PD, and then she and Jim were going to get married, and then Jim killed somebody or did something that he shouldn't have, and their relationship ended up ending. And she started a new life. At one point, she was carrying Jim's child. Yeah, and now she's like a kingpin of crime.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, she got together with the Riddler.
Okay. Well, I think she was also in Batman Year 2, which is one of the books I covered on here. But yeah, she seems like she was the caretaker for Bruce there for a little while. Did you say she did anything like that in Gotham?
No, in Gotham, she's pretty much only associated with first Jim and then the Riddler.
Okay. Close friend to Thomas and Martha Wayne took it upon herself to look after their orphan son, Bruce.
Yeah, there's nothing like that on the show.
Okay. She shows up, she rescues Batman after he gets shot in the head, which I thought was, she's another, Batman character that they've thrown in here.
There's so many characters there.
Yeah, there is. There is the Alice in Wonderland aspect of the book where we are treated to a memory of the night that his parents got shot and his mom was reading Alice in Wonderland to him. Thomas comes in there and says, "Hey, are you guys ready?" And he requested his mom wear the pearls, which is, of course, the pearls the murderer takes off of her before they get shot, or as they got shot.
Yep. But as we all learn, it's Bruce Wayne's fault they got killed that night.
And he blames himself continually.
Yep.
And it is...
As he should.
And he's hated that book. So I'm sure that... Nice going, you heartless bastard. He hates he hates that book, which, you could tell he also hates the Mad Hatter. And when he finally gets a hold of the Mad Hatter, he lets a little bit of that rage come through. But yeah, there's that tie with that book to where you can see that he doesn't want to revisit that. He doesn't like to deal with things dealing with Alice in Wonderland. But finally, at the end of the book, it comes to a reconciliation, I guess you would say, pulls the book off and begins to read it. And that's kind of where we end the book, which I thought that was kind of neat. I could understand how that right there could affect, somebody like Bruce who had to go through that tragedy. You would probably hate a lot of things that are associated with that night that happened on. Let's talk about Babs and Commissioner Gordon, their relationship. Mark, do you have any commentary on what happened in the book where between the two, of course, she runs off after they have an argument. Did you like that dynamic or the story that was being told there?
Yeah, I thought that was very true. I mean, here's somebody who knows the depths of scum and villainy, as it were, that seeps through Gotham, and he's just trying to protect her. And at what point, and then it's a question that every parent has to ask. At what point do you let your children be free, live their lives and take the risks, or how much do you stand in front of them and try to protect them? Look, we've all got young kids, but there's gonna come a time where they're gonna go out on their own. They're gonna go out with their friends, and they could get hit by cars, or they could get kidnapped. There's all kinds of things that can happen. They could make terrible decisions. They could do drugs. It's a nightmare. But on the other hand, you can't keep them in the closet forever. All you can do is best prepare them for the world that's out there and hope for the best. And as a father, I absolutely sympathized and empathized with Jim Gordon. But you can see where it gets you if you become too overprotective. Your children will rebel. They will absolutely brush up against and sometimes go over the line that you have provided for them.
Ronnie, how old would you say Babs is in that story?
Not quite a teenager.
I was 15 years old the first time I rode with just my friends, who ranged from 15 to 17, from Long Island to New York City to go see Pantera at the Roseland Ballroom.
Wow. So what'd your parents think?
My mom's opinion of the matter was, I'm going with kids who have been in the city before. I'm going with older kids. She would rather me go into the city and go to an event or go dancing or whatever than hang around in the neighborhood, and get into trouble. Like I had a group of friends who used to roam the neighborhood where they lived and steal hood ornaments, but she knew about, and she like given a choice, like she couldn't just keep me locked up in the house. So she would rather I go to a concert than go steal hood ornaments.
Well, that's good. I mean, I completely understand where Jim Gordon's coming from here. I mean, he goes to Babs' room and he's like, "You punished me enough. Okay, let's talk about this. Let's see what's going on." Because they had some kind of heated argument over dinner because she's wanting to go out. And it's Halloween night. Jim Gordon knows better It's like, this place, Gotham is going to be on fire by the time morning arrives. You want to go out and play
Gotham will be burnt to the ground.
Do you not understand this happens every year? But she's like, no, I want to go. So he goes in there to talk to her about it. And I'll tell you right now, that's like one of my worst nightmares, is to go into my son or daughter's room. They're not there. After we moved into this house, you know, I think it was like first day, and I think I may have even told you guys about this, but first day we were in here, we go to sleep, I wake up, and I walk past, because I'm doing the fatherly thing, I'm doing the check. You know, I want to make sure Caleb is not sleepwalking.
Make sure all the inmates are in their cells.
You got to do that. Making your rounds, and I walk past Colton's room, and Colton is not in his bed. I am freaking out. I go and I'm looking around. I turn on the lights in the living room. I turn on the lights in the sunroom. I'm like, we just moved here. What the hell is going on? It was like my worst fear come true. Walk back into the room, you know, and there's Colton laying on his bed. Somehow I completely missed him. He blended in. And he's done that to me like 3 times too. I've walked past there.
I've had that happen with my kids too, where like, because I don't know if you know this, Ronnie, but kids sleep fucked up.
That's the truth.
Well, I sleep messed up.
Okay, no,
we know that.
No.
This isn't a medical issue.
No, you have sleep apnea. That's not the same as children who look like they got drunk and collapsed in their bed. There's a reason why we don't let the kids sleep in the bed with us, because I have one kid who turns all night like a fucking clock. Okay, like hands on a clock, and then another kid who will eventually end up snuggled in a ball at the foot of the bed like a dog. There's kicking that goes on. It's a fucking mess. Jesse knows what I'm talking about. Kids are an absolute nightmare to sleep with. But like, if you put them to bed, their head on the pillow, and you tuck them in, and they're lying normal in the bed, you will come back to naked skydiver fucking making snow angels. With heads like, hanging off the bed and shit. Like,
yep.
So you can I get it, because I remember I did the same thing. Like, I walked into one of my kids' rooms and I did not see them, and I'm walking, and like, I have it's a 3-bedroom house, like maybe like 1,200 square feet. It's not a big house, people. If they're not in their rooms, I don't know where they could possibly be. And like this, and it's all one level. And I'm like looking around going, how the fuck did I miss people breaking into the house last night and kidnapping my children? And then I went back and I had to like search for them underneath the blankets, and there they were.
Yep.
So I get it.
Yeah, dude, it's a scary, scary thing. And I really feel for Jim Gordon here. And then, of course, the worst nightmare that he had, the very thing that he was arguing about with Babs occurs. The Mad Hatter abducts her and takes her to some crazy tea party.
I don't know if the artist intended this, but the look on her face when she's in the dress, like, I put on the dress, fuckface. What do you want from me?
Leave me alone.
Like, she's not even, like, frightened at it so much as she's just irritated.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed the second story. I thought it was pretty good. We got Mad Hatter running around just being a psycho, about killing Batman. Leslie Tompkins shows up. The relationship between Babs and her adopted father, the Alice in Wonderland link to the night that his Batman's parents get killed. So, all in all, good story. All right, let's go ahead, switch it over to Mark Radulich here. Ghosts. After an exhausting day preparing for Halloween and fighting the Penguin, Bruce Wayne is not feeling well and heads to bed. Awaking, he finds the ghost of his father explaining that Bruce's obsession with being Batman is consuming his life, and Thomas Wayne is there to warn him that he is going to be visited by 3 ghosts. Can you see where this is going? Poison Ivy takes him to see how this obsession affected others in his past. The Joker shows just how distant and aloof he is in the present, and Death allows him a glimpse at a lonely future. Mark, you had the third story here. This is the one called Ghosts. So what'd you think of this story? What's your thoughts here? What do you want to talk about?
All right, well, it's obviously a Christmas Carol done on Halloween instead of Christmas. It is literally 3 spirits. Jacob Marley, who is his dad, comes to visit him and does the bit with the chains, which, because the one I'm most familiar, the iteration, like there's a zillion iterations of A Christmas Carol, and the one that I'm most familiar with is Mickey's Christmas Carol. So the part of Jacob Marley is played by Goofy. Okay. And that's all I can think about whenever, I'm reading the story and I see Thomas Wayne in chains, and that all I'm thinking about is Ebenezer Scrooge. Oh! Falling all over the place. So, I mean, the whole thing is about, I mean, just like with Ebenezer Scrooge in A Christmas Carol, the whole thing is about legacy. What will you leave behind? Will people remember you? How will people remember you? And of course, the lesson is, if you're a bag of dicks your whole life, no one will remember you, or they'll remember you poorly, and your legacy will be a pile of shit. I thought it was an interesting take on the Batman mythos, because, you know, what is Batman? Batman's a hero. He's a guy that takes to the streets to fight crime and, you know, and save people. And I thought this turned it on. The story turns that on its head, you know, in the sense of, if all you are is this guy that goes into the night beating on people, you know, and when you're gone, that's all anyone will ever remember, you know. And I kind of liked the, you know, when he sees the ghost of Christmas Future, and his is a lonely grave, and nobody, you know, Bruce Wayne. You know, nobody knows that Batman was Bruce Wayne, and so Bruce Wayne dies a lonely guy. Mm-hmm. You know, and nobody remembers anything that he ever did. You know, and earlier on in the story, kids are like afraid to come to his house or whatever. I just thought it was great. I thought it was an interesting idea to take the concept of A Christmas Carol and apply it to, one, Halloween, and two, Batman. As far as like how, you know, who got to be the spirits and everything, man, it was fine. You know, Poison Ivy was the ghost of Christmas Past. I thought the Joker was the ghost of Christmas Present was hilarious.
Oh yeah.
You got like Alfred tied up with an apple in his mouth, you know, the whole bit. I can't remember who the ghost of Christmas Future was.
I don't think he was anybody. I think it was just Death.
Yeah,
with the Batman mask on.
Yeah.
Right. You know, and I think again, I thought it was a very similar lesson to the one that we started with, which was, you can't just be Batman. You can't lose your entire sense of self. You know, it's something that Alfred is always talking to Batman about in various stories, which is, don't forget you're Bruce Wayne. It's funny because Superman is Superman and Clark Kent's his cover story. Like, you know, like the real guy is Superman. He's this indestructible alien from another world. Batman is Bruce Wayne. And oftentimes, you know, Bruce tends to get lost in the cowl and forget who he really is. And then there's Alfred trying to remind him, like, no, you will always be Bruce Wayne. You will not always be Batman. So I like that interpretation of the character and of the mythos and everything. And I thought it was a fun take on a classic tale.
What day is it today? It's the day before Halloween. It's Halloween, sir. Bruce Wayne getting up out of the bed and jumping out of there with a big old smile on his face, running down the stairs.
They needed to do that Scrooge McDuck style where he runs out with no pants. You know, it's like, I'm forgetting something, and he puts a top hat on and still keeps no pants. He's totally Donald Ducking it. Ronnie, what did you think of Ghosts?
It was okay. At this point, I was like, it was good. Don't get me wrong. But at this point, I was just like kind of hoping for something to be over.
Was it getting too long in the tooth for you?
A little bit.
Okay. Lucius Fox shows up in this one.
He's the Bob Cratchit of the story.
Yeah. You know, it was so strange because I didn't know what I was getting into when I was first reading this, but as soon as he said it was a bad piece of shrimp, I was like, wait a second, I know where this is going. And he's getting ready to head to bed. I'm like, oh, no, they're not going to. Oh, they are. They're doing this. Okay. I don't think it was bad in my opinion, but I enjoyed it. I mean, I thought it was a decent tale. Trying to think if there was anything else significant that really kind of peeked out there on that one.
Yes, it's A Christmas Carol, you know?
Yeah.
The moral of the story is, don't lose your sense of self and don't be a bag of dicks.
There you go.
And don't eat bad shrimp.
So, Mark, let's get our overall thoughts of the book. You start us out here. What's your overall thoughts?
All right. Well, for those of you playing the home game, nobody turned into a building, so that was good. I mean, look, these were not complex stories at all. They were very straightforward. I felt like they could have utilized more of the Halloween theme to them. Like these were not particularly scary or eerie or creepy. If you want that, like a better book might have been Arkham Asylum. That book scared the fucking shit out of me. Have you ever read it?
I don't think I have.
Yeah, read Arkham Asylum, on a dark and gloomy night. You'll piss your pants. Ronnie, what did you think of Arkham Asylum?
Terrifying.
Yeah, horrible.
Is this like based off of the game?
No.
Okay.
No, it precedes the game by several years.
Got it.
We picked it because one, I'd already read Arkham Asylum. I didn't really want to read it again, but we were looking for something scary, having to do with some of our known superheroes, and I felt like that's where it falls down for me, where they didn't make the best use of the holiday itself. On the other hand, there are three pretty straightforward stories. They were entertaining. I'm kind of like Ronnie though. By the end of it, by the time I got to Ghost, I was like, God, I hope this is over soon. Maybe like one or two stories, one or two maybe longer stories, I might have been okay, and then just not have the third one. I was like, by the time I got to the third one, I was like kind of looking at my watch, like, I don't know about this. So, I mean, it's okay. I mean, would I recommend it to people? I don't know. I like mine. I like the Ghost one. Like, if you want to see like a fun take on a Christmas Carol with Batman, it's fun. But other than that, it's just kind of meh.
They should have saved that one for Christmas. I'm sorry.
There's one called Batman Noel, and I swear to God, I think that is a Christmas Carol.
Ronnie Adams, your final thoughts on Batman Haunted Night.
It was good. I mean, I definitely enjoyed the stories, but by the third, I was kind of like,
okay,
how many pages do I have left? Kind of like Mark, would I recommend it? Sure. I mean, not if you want to read something spooky, creepy, crawly, whatever. Absolutely not, because it's not. It's just, it's more for the psychological thrill. You know what I mean? But it was good. There were three good Batman stories.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'll echo what you guys have said. I'll definitely say that it was good. I liked the art in this. I think they balanced storytelling with the words and the art. They did a fine job with that. For me, it seemed like it was a real quick read. I think I read it, and I didn't get bored with it. In my opinion, I think they paced it out, especially if you're doing three stories, and let's just say you spaced them out over 3 days. If you're trying to hit it all in one sitting, it can be done. But if you space these out, I think they'd probably, you'd be able to palate them a little bit better.
Yeah, I read it when I got home from Daytona.
Yeah, so you're trying to squeeze that in, and then you're just like, oh man, come on, we gotta get to the end.
I won't lie, read it today.
I don't doubt that one bit, sir. That's all right though, as long as you read it. No, you do the homework. So yeah, I mean, I didn't hate the length of the book. I think they did a fine job balancing storytelling and art. I would agree with you guys though that it definitely wasn't scary. It wasn't something that is.
Well, Mark picked it.
If you told me, hey, we got 3 stories that were released and Haunted Night, ooh, yeah, that's right, Batman's fighting ghosts.
I wouldn't read it just because you said it like that.
There's none of that going on in here. But I think it does offer insight into Batman, the person, Bruce Wayne, and in his past. We get a little bit of that through each story. So, and if you wanted to tie it around here, he is a person that is haunted by his past. That's right. Yeah, so there you go.
I ruined it for you. Sorry.
That's all right. But yeah, I'm glad I had the opportunity to read it. That's for sure. I'm glad I learned that this was something that came out before Long Halloween. Jeph Loeb and Tim Sale were, again, they were finessing their trade here. So, all right, let's get out of here. Let's get into plugs. We'll start with Ronnie Adams. Ronnie Adams, why don't you tell us what you've been doing here lately? Because I know you've done some podcasts. I've listened to a few.
Oh, well, I do things sometimes. Mm-hmm. I have a podcast called the Screaming Boy Podcast. Just recently, we did the rise and fall of one Bill Cosby. It was a lot of fun. It was a little sad, but still fun. I did it with the patriarch of the Radulich Broadcasting Network, and he's sitting right there, and it is Mark Radulich. And we did it with what?
I was just going to say, can I just say the biggest revelation on that podcast was learning that Pat Mullen has cameras in his apartment.
Yeah,
that really made me feel strange for some reason. But other than that, everything else was great. I love the podcast. So you guys did a good job.
Thank you. And it was a lot of fun. So check that out. It was a network exclusive found only here on this here network. I said here a lot. We also have The Rise and Fall of Toys R Us, The Day That Laughter Died, The Firing of James Gunn. We have a slew of other shows that you can find here on the network, or if you go to iTunes, TuneIn, Stitcher, iHeart, Spotify, all those places, you can go on there and find the Screen Boy podcast. There is, like I said, a load of other shows that we have done. We will return to a weekly show here soon, and that's going to be a lot of fun to get back into that. Social media, Facebook and Instagram, Scream Boy Podcast, Twitter at Scream Boy PR. Going to Fayetteville Comic Con. We'll have been by the time. No, we will not. I will be going next week as this airs, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Going to meet Tom Savini and Tony Todd of Candyman fame, and he's been in a lot of other things. He was just recently in the movie Hellfest, which is not what I thought it was. It is a simple, pure slasher flick. Nothing supernatural, no demons, hellspawn, possession, or anything like that. So that was something that I actually like to do on Halloween, during the Halloween season, and watch movies like that. So I'll watch, Halloween, I'll watch Scream, different things like that. And so that was a good addition. I think I'll be making that, putting that in my Halloween repertoire for, when it comes out on Blu-ray. So, but hopefully meeting them, taking a lot of pictures of some cool cosplay. Sorry, I'm boring you. Sure. So yeah, keep an eye out for that.
Why can't I just retire? I wasn't bored at all.
You were totally bored.
No. Hey, Ronnie, we should do a show on this. You ready?
What?
A small Japanese city is facing a ninja shortage, even with salaries as high as $85,000.
That's ridiculous. If you could be paid almost $100,000 a year to be a ninja, you be a ninja. I cannot, because I don't have moves like that.
Right. So I got this article from BusinessInsider.com and Tech Insider. I feel like we need to do a show on this and robot brothels.
Not robot brothels.
We'll talk after the show. It'll be fine.
Plug your stuff, Mark Radulich.
Alrighty. Last week,
I feel like I have to talk about ridiculous things the entire time he's doing his.
No, please. Please.
You can don't try to out ridiculous me.
No, I really, this don't need to be a competition. It just needs to be plugs.
Last week on the Rattle Legend Broadcasting Network, we had a pair of Venom shows. There was Source Material, Venom Lethal Protector, with some dude named Chris from the Unspoken Decade. I was a good boy. I was a good boy during that show. I was well behaved. Mm-hmm. And then, speaking of well behaved, Jason Teasley showed up on Damn You Hollywood to help us trash Venom. And then the Metal Hammer of Doom continues with Covers Month all month long here in the month of October. We did Mystic Prophecy, Monuments Uncovered. Hot stuff, baby. This week, tonight you're hearing Haunted Night, or today, or whenever it is you've downloaded the show. Tuesday is a TV party tonight. It's our yearly look at Hannibal Lecter. It's Hannibal Season 2. Metal Hammer of Doom brings you Outlaws to the End by Devil Driver. And then just announced recently, we decided to do a TV party tonight for Season 1, which is only 4 episodes long. Season 1 of Castlevania. Myself, Sean Garmer, Jesse Starcher, Robert Cooper, you, Smacko, Ronnie Adams.
Smacko, wacko.
You gonna get on this Castlevania action?
Sure. I mean, you just call me Schmacko, so I feel like I have to do something.
Yak 'em, smack 'em.
The following week, as we get closer and closer to Halloweeny, we're going to look at Daredevil Born Again by, Frank Miller?
Yeah. Oh, boy.
On Source Material. And then the new in-continuity sequel to the original Halloween movie, Halloween, on Damn You Hollywood, Burn the Priest, Legion XX. And then we clean up the week with another TV party from the good people at Netflix, Daredevil Season 3, which is loosely inspired by the aforementioned Born Again. And we close out October, Halloween time, with Halloween Night Dance on source material. Halloween 2 from 1981 on trial. The boys that just want to have fun from Italy, Trick or Treat, reanimated. And then on November 1st, Justin Thomas joins the boys in the band as we look at Space Invaders and do a TV Party Tonight extra commentary in celebration of the anniversary of the War of the Worlds broadcast. And that's all the news that's fit to print here in October on the Radicalism Broadcasting Network.
Okay, very good. I do want to, I don't think you plugged this, but if you have the chance to go back and listen to our Power Glove coverage on Metal Hammer of Doom, Mark Radulich once again lost important quiz. As we decided to have Sean Garmer on, Robert Cooper joined us, and we did video game trivia in between.
I made my wife listen to that show. She was cracking up.
We had a good time. Shit, that show was what? Like at least 2 hours long.
That was 2.5 hours of my life I want back.
Agonizing pain for Mark Radulich. He doesn't like when he loses. And unfortunately, nothing happened out of the ordinary. He always loses at these tests. So there you go. Just be ready. Spoiler alert. Hey, he acts
always losing.
Here's the thing. He acts like the first couple tests, or first couple quizzes we've done on the Metal Hammer, competitions, I should say. First couple competitions were rigged. He accuses me of that over and over. Never happened. I don't understand where he's coming from. He brings it up again here in this past one.
Hey, who won comic book trivia? So long ago.
See, there we go. Mark Radulich just doesn't have the best of luck. Maybe one of these days it'll be your day, Mark Radulich. But we had a
go suck a dick, Jesse Starker.
He's still bitter. But we had
me for using my phone.
Anyway, yeah, well, Ronnie Adams, you need to stay off the internet, okay? Stay off the internet when I'm doing the quiz.
I don't think I'm the one that needs to stay off the internet.
I think you should go on the internet and look up robot brothels.
Homina. The source material YouTube page has a lot of the Metal Hammer of Doom extras on there where me and Mark get together and we Beavis and Butthead videos of the upcoming artists. Man, we're up to, I think, over 60 Metal Hammer of Doom extras in our playlist, which is just a fantastic accomplishment. And I have a lot of fun. Me and Mark have a lot of fun talking about what's happening before our very eyes on there.
They only mildly irritate my wife.
Mildly. So you can type in RADULICH in just about any podcast platform. That includes our home here on Spreaker. Type it into Stitcher, type it into iTunes. You can type it into Spotify. You should be able to find the network pretty easily. You can locate it, subscribe, catch up with everything that we release, and make sure...
You can dance if you want. You can leave your friends behind. But your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then they're no friends of mine.
In fact, that's exactly what... I took the words right out of my mouth. That's Mark Radulich. Ronnie Adams? Yep, that's Ronnie Adams. I'm Jesse Starcher. We'll be catching you next time. This has been Source Material. Have a good one. Bye-bye. And you can dance if you want to.
You can leave your friends behind. Ooh.
Yeah. All right. That brings this episode of Source Material to a close. Thank you all for joining us. Make sure to give that Radulich in Broadcasting Facebook page a like to stay up on top of all the great podcasts we have to offer. We are at home on Spreaker, but you can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, and recently we have hit the air on Spotify. Find your favorite podcast platform and type in RADULICH to subscribe for some great content. If you enjoyed this show, please feel free to share and spread the word. And as always, we appreciate any feedback and look forward to entertaining you again soon.
Ronnie, are your pants off? Did Alexa take them off for you?
Are we getting...
Yeah, it was a hot pile of garbage.
Your face is a hot pile of garbage.
Oh!
Your mom's a hot pile of garbage.
Oh!
Hey, you have... All right.
Ah.
Wait, Alexa, turn off the living room light.
Well, hey, she's a very nice, pleasant lady.
I don't abuse mine, Mark.
Mark is just waiting for that day he can have sex with Alexa. He is...
And now I'm done. We haven't even started.
You tell the world why we're doing Batman Haunted Night tonight.
Because Mark has everything scheduled out until 2040.
You wanted to be the one to talk.
Passive aggressiveness right now. It's not appreciated.
Are you gonna rape us? No, have some tea. So you can rape us? No, what's wrong with you? I just want a tea party. I did not make up Dominic the Italian Christmas donkey.
Which is more far-fetched, unicorn whales or Dominic the Christmas donkey?
The Italian Christmas donkey, you dipshit.
I can't help it if you're making things up.
Ronnie, I am going to come to North Carolina this December. I'm going to stand outside of your house in a trench coat with a boombox playing Dominic the Italian Christmas donkey.
Hey, Dominic! $1. He'll put the boombox down and open the trench coats. He'll be Donald Ducking it all day
I don't
long.
understand why you would do that.
You Donald Ducking around the house, Jesse?
No, sir.
Oh,
Yeah.
the day that I can't Donald Ducking around my house is going to be a sad fucking day. I'm podcasting in my underwear right now, as a matter of fact. How do you like that?
Exactly what we need right here on the Source Material Podcast.
When are we doing the Robot Brothel show?
Never. I don't want to feed into your deviancies.
You have a topical show.
I have
That's
a
what.
topical show that deals with nerd things. And
You don't think banging robots is a nerd thing?
not any nerds that I want to associate with.
Just think it over.
No.
I need you to consider it.
No!
We'll talk about it offline.
The robots are coming.
I hate both of you. Pulling my show from the network. Retiring from this show.
He's retired at least 4 weeks consecutively now.
No, I've just quit other times.